group, I want to see two sisters groups who will present your selected projects. From this group, you will, from that group you will go, okay. And from here, who will, this brother and two more.
We have one more here, Brother Hassan, and another one.
Yeah, are you presenting? Okay. Okay. We will start with one brother, because there are three brothers and two sisters.
Okay, brothers and
then we'll go to sisters. Okay.
Well, you can do it, right?
Let's have.
We have so much stuff.
Let's have our brother Javed first presenting. Project, give me 3-4 minutes
as well.
of the project that you've selected. How did you decide the community needs and the strengths and weaknesses?
Yeah.
And maybe something about, is it important that future leaders yourselves should know about community development? Say something.
Sure.
Come here.
So what we talked about was at Serving Islam team, we're involved in quite a few projects. I think most of you are know, inshallah. Now, we talked about one of the projects that we picked up last year was about outreach project, actually a couple of years ago. And the idea was to reaching out to the general public. The objectives were a few, which was like showing that the Muslims are giving back into the community, and also part of the dawah as well. Why we're doing it, so informing people why we're doing it, and the other was involving more people with us to in that kind of charity work. And the
How did you decide that this project is needed? The community need.
Yes.
How did you assess the needs?
Well, the assess was that how do we the local people will get to know that Muslim exists and they give back into the community.
So the assessment is that the local people do not have enough awareness of the Muslims and the way they live, what they believe, etc. So because that gap is so clear, you decided to set up a project to make them aware. It's an Islam awareness project, kind of.
Yes.
Okay. And what, on reflection, what are the strengths and weaknesses? Give me at least two each.
Well, the strengths were that we saw more community parted in and joined us financially and actually on the day as well.
So, number-wise and money-wise, they participate.
Yes.
Okay.
Compared to any other dawah project that we do.
Give me two weaknesses of that project.
Two
Weaknesses.
two witnesses.
Yeah. Weak.
Oh, two weaknesses.
Yes.
The weakness was that one is the limited resources that we have, that we couldn't take it to the next level, where we can take those homeless people, because it was a food distribution to homeless people and blanket distribution, to get to a level where we can rehabilitate them back into the community. So picking up homeless, try to understand them more. So one was a bit of a language issue, the other was a bit of a resources issue, that we can take them and rehabilitate.
Any in terms of organization issue, in terms of logistics issue, instead of just the financial weakness? In terms of planning, in terms of implementation, in terms of teamwork, in terms of the quality of the individuals who played roles?
Yes, we did do kind of a lesson learned from it too, because when we got into it, we were not that well managed. So the day we went there and wanted to distribute it, there are a few places that we did and had to understand who were the real people in need, or there was also a misinterpretation in a way that we did, and to start with first, we did not really convey the message. So we did not really, although with the core team we had meetings, but we did not manage.
What's the most important lesson you learned?
Was to coordinate better between all the people, all the volunteers they were giving there. When we reach into a distribution point, we should meet up and define duties that who were doing what, and like a clear task, roles and responsibilities.
So why, the last question, why it is important for you to learn about community development? For you means as a plural, not singular.
Yeah. To understand, I think, the needs more and come closer, agree to the disagree between us, because sometimes on little things that we disagree with each other, we don't really part into them good projects that they are common values to each other. So I think that was the...
Anyone wants to ask a question? Just one question. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, let's have a sister. Sister, please.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nadia. I work for
need
IIIT
microphone
Islamic.
would be better.
I suggest we use, because even though we feel that we're loud enough, but it's actually not very audible behind.
Not clear.
Not clear.
The voice is not clear here.
Okay. Assalamualaikum. I'm Sister Nadia working for Islamic Institute Memorial College. Actually, for our group, we had a very diverse group of sisters. One of them was from Indonesia, studying in Taiwan now, and she was in charge of the new students in Taiwan. The other one was a Malaysian sister who is in Perlis, and she talked, basically we talked about what they were doing there in their community, how to do dawah for the new Muslims. For myself, we did the Child Development Fund project in the school. Basically, it's a government-funded project. And the whole point was to try to empower, try to solve intergenerational poverty through 3 components. One was a mentorship program, the other one was a savings plan, and the third one was to try to create personal development plan for each student so that they could go beyond what their present situation is now. Now for our, why did we as a school try to apply for this government funding? And actually the other...
How did you decide the community needs?
Okay.
How did you find out?
So actually, in Hong Kong now, we have a lot of funding available from the government. But unfortunately, very few NGOs, Muslim NGOs actually apply for it. For us, it's very easy. A lot of our students actually need a lot of help, but we don't have enough resources to do that. So applying for government funding is a very good way to answer those needs. Okay?
So the needs, which needs, how did you find out those?
Basically, it's to try to, how do you escape from intergenerational poverty, is to try to beef up your social capital and also to try to beef up your financial literacy and also your, basically your social network, okay? And also for academic revision and so on.
I mean, basically, you see government statistics, you see social survey of some kind whereby you identify, yes, there is the need.
Actually, our own school, there's a lot of people living under the poverty line.
Right.
A lot of people receive social welfare.
You already have all the
Yes.
information because you run a school.
Yeah, in our own school.
Okay.
Okay.
Now,
so what were the strengths and weaknesses of the project? In Hong Kong, actually, we have the problem that usually our society, our community, even the Muslim community, right, is very sort of divided. We have people who are very well off. They sort of have a different social circle and everything. Very rarely do you actually have communication or interaction even with the lower people with the underprivileged part of society. So this was actually a way for us to find a way for them to meet up. Okay, we try to get professionals, yes, from our own Muslim community. We try to get them. I think some of them are actually here now who joined the program. To be mentors for our students. Okay, so that was a very good way. We tried to get people to sponsor because we had matching donations from sponsors, and we, as much as possible, we had actually managed to get from the Muslim community. Okay, and weakness was that we were not equipped. As a school, we didn't really know how to run the program, and as a community, actually. Unfortunately, we are not as well organized as other religious faiths. And we lacked the backbone for service organizations to assist us. Because for the other Christian groups, they had service providers from their own community, and we lacked that. And I tried my best, actually Dr. Abbasi helped, a lot of other professionals helped, to try to do the service provision necessary to implement the project. Okay, and actually for the other sisters as well, they say that they do have government funding, but sometimes the problem of applying also exists, right?
Okay.
Now, why is it important for us as future leaders to learn about community development? Particularly for women. Women empowerment is very important for us, for the Child Development Fund, and for them as well. We found out that approaching the women, going into the families was really crucial to try to get the message across. So that if we could actually develop more women leaders and more community development under women leadership, we could actually empower the women and the groups here in Hong Kong on a more effective basis. Thank you.
Thank you. Well done. Okay. Brother.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So we also had a very wonderful group, and we had many diverse experiences in our group. But the project we selected has local significance, and it's about setting up a Muslim Students Association in a university. So in the University of Hong Kong, we did not have any Muslim Students Association, and the number of Muslim students was growing every year. So the need that we saw was that we as a Muslim community did not have any official platform for our voice to be heard in the community, with the management, with the student body, and outside the university as well. So this was the most pressing need, and we saw that many decisions of the management, and also the relationship with the students was not as it should be because of having no official status. So this was the most pressing need where we saw, so we got together and we brainstormed it and we set up a society. And unofficially it was set up in 2009, and then officially it was registered with the government and the police in 2014. So it was a relatively long and very difficult time for all of us. But once we set it up, we got the platform, and the university now actually in the start, it was forced to listen to our views because now we were an official student body and they could not ignore our voice. And then gradually this converted into acceptance and actually consultation. So before making a decision, rather than asking us after that decision, they used to ask us before. So once we had a platform, we had official sponsorship, we were allowed to have fundraising, and we divided this society. We had different functions. We had personal development, spiritual development, social development. We had a free hand to organize spiritual uplifting events like iftar, like Taraweeh, like Jummah prayer, like Jummah khutbah. We had spiritual night retreats in the masajid. We also had different social events like henna nights for the girls, pizza parties. We had different game events. We had sporting competitions like cricket and football, etc. And at the same time, we had events of an academic nature to invite students of the university, as well as invite professors and scholars to come and interact with Muslim students and learn more about the religion, about our beautiful religion. So this was basically the gist of our society, which was then established in 2014 and up. And from then it has steadily been growing. It has been outreaching, and it's now like a very well-known organization within the whole Hong Kong community. And as a result, we have also equipped other universities to establish MSAs. So we're the first one. So this was one of the major strengths that I saw in this society, that once we have an official body, we can now move forward and then equip others and enable them, empower them to make their own societies and take their stands. The weakness I saw was, which at that time I would analyze this as a strength, but now when I look back, when I reflect, I thought that we should have done more outreach to other communities at the time we were being established. So at that time we were more inwardly focused, more focused on the student and the staff, on the community. We only had 1 or 2 events which were outreaching to the general public of Hong Kong. But I foresee that, when I reflect now, I saw that if we had done more outreach, we had done more collaboration, then we would have grown even more. And this was the major weakness which I saw. So the funding was mentioned, and I would like to address this, that funding generally is an issue with an organization as such. So the way we tackled it was that we tried to make our smaller events self-sufficient, self-sustainable. So we did not ask for any donations or any funding for the smaller events. So we had ticketing or some small advertisement cost, or some like a guest speaker. So we tried to manage. But of course, for the bigger events, for the major events, we still needed to have some sort of community and help, which we got from the Muslims, from the businessmen, and from various Muslim organizations in Hong Kong. And I think it's really essential to develop future leaders. And at the time when we were setting up this executive committee, the first executive committee, we had this in mind. And we can proudly say that the next 3 or 4 chairpersons and chairwomen, they came from the first executive committee. And if a society or an organization has to grow, it has to develop leaders at the same time. So it cannot be a one-man show, it cannot be a one-committee show. We have to think about our future committees and future generations as well. So thank you.
Very good. Sister? But good quality presentation, mashallah.
Assalamu alaikum. So this project was shared by the chairperson of the Women Association of Hong Kong. So around 20 or 30 years ago, they realized that there was a need for the poor and needy people in their community and even all around Asia. So they aim to, first they aim to collect some clothes or even buy them and send them to the needies in the mainland or maybe Indonesia or where there were natural disasters. So, and they also tried to collect donations to build wells in villages. So all around they tried to help the needies whenever there was need. So, but by time they realized that there was a weakness, that there were not enough volunteers. So sometimes there were only a few people left, and there was a problem because sometimes there was logistic issues because you have to carry those clothes and you have to send it to mainland, and sometimes there were not enough contributions, donations, so they had to donate their own money to help out. So, but the strength was they realized that eventually they could help out people from all around Asia. So whenever there was a natural disaster, they would try to help out as much as they could. And they could even be more environmentally friendly because they were using second-hand clothes and equipment to help out those in need. So for us as future leaders, I think it is really important to learn about community development because we all have a right and we also all have our own strengths. So we should learn more about how we can use our strengths to help the community around us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The last group.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Last but not least, from Father's side, the project, I think most of you have heard of it, Social Mosque Project. And I'm not sure why I'm chosen to be presented. The chairman and the other members, they are spreading across this room. I'm not sure why I'm talking about this project. Anyway. but anyway.
Because we are future leaders. It's like if you want to know your opinion, they will tell you that. You are future leaders.
Why our community need the project?
What needs? How did you decide what needs that are to be met?
Few goals we need to achieve. First, the lack of space, lack of malls, lack of facilities for Muslims. Statistically speaking, there we have a lot less places of worship than followers of other religions. Each 15,000 Muslims, we only have one mosque. But look at other religions. For example, they have each 700 followers, they have one temple. So you see the large margin exists in Hong Kong. And secondly, this is not just a mosque. It is a mosque, it's an elderly house, there will be a canteen, there will be some, short-term accommodation for traveler. So it meets the diverse requirements of the community. And I emphasize that the elderly house is not just for Muslims, it is for all people in Hong Kong.
All needy.
All those who are in need. So therefore, this is an action Muslims need to demonstrate to the wider society that we care. We do care. We want to catch up our presence in the charity sector. We want to show that this is a religion. Demonstrate our commitment to social causes, not just about saying. We do it. Action speaks louder than words. These are the few needs. Strengths and weaknesses. I would say Chairman was too humble enough to share about the strength, but I will summarize. First is about, this is I see a very persistent, committed group of people wondering about this project. I'm sure many of us in Hong Kong know how much trouble we have faced, how much time, how much money we have spent on this project because of certain individuals making trouble for decades. And all I see the strength is, despite this challenge, I'm talking about the strength and weakness together. The weakness is some people in trouble for a long time to raise more than $10 million. more than 1 decade. But with the strength is we still see this group of United Muslim Association of Hong Kong, with this leadership, this team, have been working on this project very hard. I would say, that's what I'm saying, the weakness and strength, we see each other. When you see something evil, you see the value of someone who is doing good in it. Another strength and weakness. In Hong Kong, it's expensive, everything's about money. Dealing with government procedure paperwork, as Chairman shared, just doing the paperwork costed 1.5 million Hong Kong dollars. And then when the project, have been prolonged for so long, the cost rises. Everyone knows how expensive the Hong Kong houses has become in the last 2 decades. And now we're building a mosque in such a luxurious city. But the strength is, alhamdulillah, Muslims are outreaching, have been a lot more outreaching than before. There's like Chairman share, ex-chairman travel in Middle East, different countries, and Qatar, they donated 9 million Hong Kong dollars very generously, and in a local level, we also raised 1 million, actually more than that. So I would say it's another strength. What we need to learn from it, again, what I summarize is, we need to, again, it's very similar to other projects. We need to know how to communicate with different components in our Muslim community. We are diverse ethnic groups, linguistic groups, different opinions. We are not as organized as we should be, as mentioned by other groups before. Secondly, I humbly believe we need to know how to protect ourselves. We need to protect ourselves by all legal and halal means possible. We need to avoid, not just in this project, but all other projects, to be misused, to be abused by certain individuals who make trouble. There are all sorts of people in trouble in this country, or so on, and I personally believe Muslims need to use the law of the land. It's like what you guys do in the UK. Even the Islamic will, very simple, UK version, very simple. But that is recognized by the UK common law as well. I believe this is something, no matter for the Muslim Mosque project, Islamic will in Hong Kong, whatsoever, this is something we need to work upon, inshallah. So, by the way, I need to add something more, if you don't mind. As I'm a reverent Muslim, I'm not sure why is that the reason I'm chosen to be talking here. and then we talk about the legal means to protect about different things. No matter about certain lost the money, no matter about a will, no matter how people are being buried. I'm sorry, it's a bit extra. Forgive me, please. In Hong Kong, we see many cases. It happens now. They're not just Muslims. One family, you have got people following 4 to 5 different religions, and one person dies. Family dispute happens. What ceremony should follow to do, cremation, burial, whatsoever? And it happens to certain Muslims before. Unfortunately, their old members, they were Muslim, but then the young generation, they passed away. The young generation, they're not Muslim anymore. So many cases, they can be buried according to Muslim requirements, but not everyone are like this. Some people, unfortunately, they went through the cremation whatsoever. And therefore, I personally emphasize the need to use the legal means to protect ourselves, no matter for social laws, for our body, for anything else. We can't just purely based on trust. Trust in this day and age is not enough. You have to have trust, you have to have something black and white. And this is the very cruel reality we are living in. Thank you very much. Thank
you. It shows that there is understanding, there is experience. I think maybe focus on the individual and team. Then it will produce better results. When we say resources, human resources is more important than financial resources. Let me touch on resources. When we say resources, so I've already mentioned human resources, there's financial resources. Any other resource? Anything else that can benefit a project? Resource there are other resources.
Human resource.
Human resource I mentioned, and financial resource, which these two are very clear, but there are other resources. Time is of course a resource. This building is not human resource, it's not financial resource, it's a facility resource. Okay? So it's a facility. What else? Knowledge is a resource. There is one fundamental, very important resource left. And the last speaker mentioned, shall we say, hinted, he didn't sort of say, all the network connections, relationships. The sister talked about relations, getting funding from the government. This comes through relationship networking. I call it networking. If you know people, for example, I was, in 1985, I moved from Manchester to London. And in London, I was a team leader for community development team. And this team was in charge of £2.5 million of community project funding. 1985, 2.5 million. Just think about the amount. Okay? So, this means if somebody, there was a Jewish group, because Orthodox Jews mainly lived in my area. So they and the Bangladeshis came to know that I'm there, so they came running. So like that, this way, if somebody I know, I can pick up the phone and say, can you make it possible? That's shortcut. Formal process is longer, and maybe cold shoulder. So knowing somebody, having a relationship, positive relationship with an official or community leader or anybody else, politician or principal, anybody principal here? Or teacher in school, right? Or college or university. So what you have is people who have some influence, who have some authority, to have a relationship which can cut short the formalities and get, this networking is a resource. Who you know can get results. Even though who you know, you go to that person. If you don't know, then you go to formal channel and it will take time, maybe it will be rejected. So it all matters. Therefore, those are the resources. We have enough time to go into, I have two more files. One is, here, there is some more here. I forgot about it. Principles of community development. After exercise, I forgot that there is some more. Principles of community development, GITA. I actually reordered the letters. This is from an official body in UK, Scotland Community Development. GA is for justice. Okay? Here. This is official, the body that developed the principles. E for equality. E for empowerment. This talked about empowerment. Togetherness to learn and work. And action collectively to develop. For community development, you have to develop something self and others. So this is their principle. They didn't organize it in this manner, but I did. See source. Federation of Community Development Learning.org. Okay, this is what they say. These are the things that I just mentioned. Okay, reflecting community development practitioner, 6 areas. Now coming to Islamic community development. Okay. We always need to remember everything we do to be blessed, to be rewarded in Akhirah. We never forget it's not pleasing people, but serving people to please Allah. Not pleasing people, serving people to please Allah. And there is a dua. Allahumma inni as'aluka radaka wal jannah. So we want your pleasure and your jannah. So that should dominate our thinking, our feeling, our priorities, our acceptance and rejections. Okay? This is Islamic community. Concerned, I'm concerned. I'm not negligent. I'm concerned. I have competence and I have commitment. Then I share. Then when I serve, I don't look at Muslims. I serve humanity. Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat linnas. We always are too much ethnocentric. Or Bangladesh is only connect with Bangladeshis, or that kind of thing. Pakistan is only with Pakistanis. Okay, that's okay, but be also broader. I have non-Muslim friends. Nobody is my enemy. As Yusuf Islam said in one lecture I attended, he said everyone is a Muslim, either a confirmed Muslim or a potential Muslim. Okay? It's our job to help them. So, Islamic community development's ethos, human beings are treated with responsibility, respect and dignity, as required by Allah and Rasul. وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا. What is that? وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي Adam. Allah says, the children of Adam I have honored. And we dishonor each other. Why is it important? This is Surah Al-Hujurat. Ya ayyuhan nas, inna khalaqnakum min dhakarin wa untha, wa ja'alnakum shu'uban wa qabaila lita'arafu, inna akramakum 'inda Allahi atqakum. So taqwa is the basis. So let me share with you my matrix of taqwa. Okay? So taqwa involves do's and don'ts. Okay? And then you have basic, intermediate, and advanced. So in the do's, at basic level, we have to do fard. Okay? At basic level of taqwa, we must do fard. Yeah. Just make sure people here can see. Okay? So we must do is fard. Basic taqwa level. What we must not do? Haram. When you specify, it's clear, the level is clear. How do you judge where I am? How do I judge? So I've been studying and trying to put some things together, and here, this is my conclusion. At intermediate after fard, what should we do? After haram, what we should leave? Not loud. Disliked, makruh. After sunnah, what do? We should do nafil. After makruh, what should we leave? It's in Islamic term called mutashabiha, the doubtful things. Anything doubtful, leave it. Mutashabiha. Okay, this is, I've been working on some concepts to be captured by graphic or matrix or that kind of thing, so it's easy to understand. Okay, now there is another angle to it. Okay, here, from what I understand from Imam Al-Azami, at basic level, we want to avoid the fire. So I follow Islam because I have to follow to avoid the fire. So this is avoid fire. This is I have to do. Okay? At intermediate level I'm thinking, oh, I want to go to paradise. Just avoiding fire is not good enough, I need to improve. So I go into intermediate level, do sunnah and avoid makruh. So it is paradise. Okay? So that means I like to follow Islam. Okay? I have avoided fire and got interested in paradise, what should be the next level? The two I've given, now you tell me. What should be here? It is, this is, I have to, I like to, I want to. No, stronger, I need stronger. Here I can give you this, I love and love is more stronger attachment than like. Okay, have to is reluctant follower. Okay. Now, after paradise, what is my motivation? My motivation is here to avoid the fire. My motivation here is to go to the Jannah. What is the motivation here? Is the crucial issue of our own dawah development. You're close. You're close. Come on. Think more. I know you can say it because you are very high category people. Among all the people I meet in different countries, you are high category people. You have professional and Islamic thought levels, organized thinking, structured, methodical, particularly among sisters. It's quite good quality sisters compared to many other countries that I've visited. So keep it up and you have a lot more potential. All of you.
Seeing Allah.
Around that, go on. Huh? Say Jannatul Firdaus, Jannah, it's all still Jannah. It's Jannah. Jannah. All this Arabic writing I learned. So you can all learn. If I never attended madrasa and I can quote Quran like that, you can all do it. I'm just like you.
Like you have a lot of questions, so you want all the answers.
So what is the focus or attention on? Yeah. Okay. So this is avoid the fire. This is go to Jannah. Our motivation here is love of Allah and Rasul. How much we do depends. So the top category is we forget about Jannah and Jahannam. We want Allah and Rasul full stop. That's the priority. I'm not there, but I want to. So you can see the categories now. This matrix I didn't find, I created from the knowledge already in narrative. Narrative cannot capture so easily. So I create this kind of structure so we can capture it. Okay? Let me, so move. Just read the verse.
Maybe we'll have a break right after this.
Yes.
There's some snacks prepared behind the back.
Okay. There is 450 is Asso, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Azan is in about 5 minutes. Azan will be in about 5 minutes.
Okay. So we take a break, have something to eat, and a few slides left. So you can see there's a lot more than we thought there was. So you can create this kind of structure yourself and share it. Then it's easily captured. Okay? Right. Let's have something to eat.
All right.